We are conditioned to reject the dark, and it's actually not possible, and it doesn't help. It actually hurts. And I want to talk about how. Light and dark are natural parts of reality. They are partners, they coexist, they can be cyclical, they are a part of spirit, a part of nature, and a part of ourselves. When something is dark, right, it is unknown, uncertain, uncomfortable. It is in the dark. When something is light, it is known, it is comfortable, it is certain, it is in the light. Okay. So our reality, both spiritual and natural and also psychological, exists in natural light and dark. And that's often cyclical, bringing the dark to light. This is what causes growth, transformation, etc. When we reject the dark, and I'm not just talking about toxic positivity, because even in circles where we're talking about working with our negative emotions, a lot of times it tends to veer towards getting rid of, overcoming, moving past negative emotions. We're working to overcome them, to get rid of them, to reject them. How do we get them out of our life, right? When we reject the natural, beautiful, dark part of ourself and of nature, what ends up happening is it leaks out in unconscious ways, oftentimes worse than if it would have just been the natural way. And when we try to force all light all the time, there's this thing that happens. It's like an energetic split inside of us as we reject a natural part of ourselves. Learning to accept, honor, and work with our natural dark parts is the most loving and the most healing and beneficial thing we can do. And I'm not talking about unnecessary darkness. I'm not talking about harming others. I'm not talking about unnecessary destruction. I'm talking about, or harming yourself. I'm talking about working with the natural flow of the darkness within you and the darkness around you without you and the darkness of spirit, all of it. And just as a little specific example about the natural darkness within nature and what happens when we try to reject the dark. I'm going to use my home state as an example, but this happens a lot of places. I have in my home state an overpopulation of an animal that humans would be the only natural predator, right? But we have strict hunting regulations, and they say it's to avoid accidents and bad things happening. It's probably more so they can get as much money as possible, so they can push factory farming, all this other stuff. But they say, oh, it's to avoid all these bad things happening, disease and all this other stuff. So what ends up happening when there's an overpopulation of a species because there's such strict hunting regulations that its natural predator can't go after it, okay, is that species ends up being so overpopulated that it suffers from disease, from starvation. And not only are they suffering cruel, lengthened, and untimely deaths, not only are they suffering in large quantities, they are also utilizing a lot of the natural resources in great quantities so that other species suffer too. And they're passing along their diseases. And they're essentially harming the ecosystem because there's such an overpopulation of them, because there's such strict hunting regulations. We're not allowed to flow with nature because they're trying to avoid negative consequences of us flowing with nature. And in doing so, they're actually causing more disease, more unnatural destruction of nature. They're actually causing the darkness that was going to be there regardless to leak out in more toxic ways that are kind of like side effects, unnatural side effects. This is what happens when you go against the natural dark parts of nature. And on a human psychological level, it's like, why is almost everybody against bullying, being mean, abuse, neglect? Why is everybody against these things that are deemed as bad, right? Like everybody's so against it. And yet a lot of people are still getting bullied, abused, mistreated, neglected. It's still happening. And it's probably happening in much larger quantities than it would happen if we allowed ourselves to feel and be in touch with our natural darkness, with our negative emotions, with our negative thoughts, with our negative feelings. And again, I'm saying this not to condone harm. I'm saying it to reduce harm, because from my perspective, it is the rejection of the darkness within us that causes it to leak out in unconscious and unintended ways. There is no reality in which we don't have negative emotions and negative thoughts. The reality doesn't exist, nor should we try to reject it or avoid it because it doesn't actually feel good. It's not possible and it hurts, right? So when I have been in frames of mind where I have tried, and I am diagnosed with depression and anxiety, okay? So I know when I have been in frames of mind where I am trying to reject the natural dark emotions and thoughts within me. I'm trying to overcome them. I'm trying to get past them. It causes this desperation, this clinging to this idea of having a positive experience, this attachment to a positive experience that causes me to have this desperate energy, this hopelessness. It causes feelings of shame. It causes my energy to like split itself in two, and it feels bad. It doesn't feel good. It feels bad physically to me. Like my energy feels bad. It feels heavy. I feel like I don't have space for anything good. Ironically, it's the trying to force a positive experience that makes me feel like I have no space for anything good because I'm desperately clinging to the idea of getting rid of the negative. On the flip side, when I surrender to and embrace my natural darkness, my natural dark cycles, dark thoughts, dark emotions, when I embrace them and allow myself to experience them and feel them and sit with them, what ends up happening is, first of all, it feels good. When you allow yourself to surrender to it, it actually feels good. It feels like cathartic release. And for me, it feels like there's parts of myself that are like, yes, finally, that feel honored, that feel loved, that feel literally excited to be sitting with the natural in alignment experience that my insides want to feel, that my soul, that my spirit wants to feel, that because of societal conditioning, I'm trying so hard to reject, but now I'm allowing it and something inside of me lights up when I allow myself to embrace it and love it. Okay. Because here's this other thing. And when we talk about, even people who talk about working with and honoring negative emotions, they're still talking about the experience as if it's a bad experience, as if it's an unworthy experience. But it's not. It's a good, beautiful experience. To embrace those feelings feels good. It feels good to allow yourself to embrace your dark feelings and your dark thoughts. And I find that when I allow myself to sit with this, embrace it, and literally enjoy it, I experience a cathartic release. I often gain insight and wisdom and transformation as I'm bringing what is in the dark to the light. As I am bringing what is unknown to known, I experience transformation and insight. And afterwards, I have space. I'm not weighed down by all of the emotions that I was trying to reject. I now have space. I have passion. I have excitement inside of me. I have things that I want to do and focus on. I have more space for positive when I allow the negative to be embraced and felt and accepted. And when I allow and embrace and love my dark parts and allow myself to feel it, I become better for not only myself, but also the people around me as I have more space, more wisdom, and more of myself to actually participate in life when I'm not trying to suffocate half of my nature.